I ordered the most popular knife on Amazon, and today we're going to test it. You may know this knife. In fact, you may even own this knife. Or maybe you bought it as a gift for your father when you didn't know what else to get him. This knife has almost 50,000 ratings on Amazon. Now that's just ratings. They've probably sold millions of these things, and when I tell you the price, you'll probably understand why. This knife is made by Smith & Wesson, and it costs a whopping $12.95. So basically, someone looks up tactical knife, this comes up, and they buy it. So I actually have a lot of respect for Smith & Wesson, especially on the firearm industry side. So let's see what their other stuff looks like. So here it is, Smith & Wesson Professional Quality Tools. Code is SWA24S. Let's see what $12.95 gets you. Let's see why this thing is so popular. There it is. Warnings, sharp edge. Warning, sharp edge. We're gonna test if it's. We're gonna test that warning. Let's take a look. This is the Smith & Wesson Extreme Ops for only the most extreme operations and operators. This knife is a liner lock. Has a flipper, which can't really flip the knife out, and some thumb studs there. Partial serrated blade, thumb jimping there. Because this is a knife, we have to see if it will cut. Cutting is the purpose of a knife in the first place, so if it can't do that, how good is it as a knife? Let's take a look. Okay. It does cut. It does come decently sharp. The straight edge of the knife actually comes sharp, so that's already a positive. So the steel used is 7CR17. It's definitely not at all a high-end steel and is equivalent to 440A. Let's just say that the price reflects the quality of the steel here. Low price, low-end steel. However, I respect that they are listing the steel, and it is actually a blade steel. Sometimes certain companies that sell knives around this price will not actually say what steel they use. They'll just say high-quality stainless steel. Like, okay, I totally believe you, it's high-quality stainless steel. At least these guys, at least they're listing it's 7CR17. It's not on the blade, but if you look it up, you can find it. So how about the serrations? Serrations on a knife like this are actually useful. This probably won't hold a sharp edge for too long, but the serrations extend that cutting ability, and they're good for fibrous man-made materials like rope and twine. A folding knife is dangerous if the lock fails and it closes when you are not expecting it to. To test the lockup of this knife, we are going to whack the spine and see if it closes. In the past, I've had cheap liner locks fail on me where the liner gets stuck too far over. It's probably because of loose tolerances, and the blade moves, allowing for the liner lock to shift all the way over and get stuck, and I have to use a screwdriver to pry it back. Let's see if it happens to this one. We'll just do some chops into a piece of wood, and that'll kind of test the integrity of the edge and the edge retention as well. Okay, so it's pretty sharp before. Okay. Lock seems to be fine, actually. pretty nice. It's constructed pretty well. Let's see how the edge held up. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's still, so even though the steel is pretty junk, it's not too bad. This is the kind of knife that sits in the garage or on the workbench, and when you got to scrape some gunk out of something, this is the thing you grab. The lock might get seized up over time, and eventually it magically transforms into a screwdriver or a pry bar. But you don't care. It was $12.95. All joking aside, this knife could definitely be useful for somebody. It's a sharp piece of metal. So you need a sharp piece of metal? Here you go. It might not stay sharp for a while, but remember, $12.95. It's not surprising that this is the most popular knife on Amazon. It's at a price that anybody can afford if they need a pocket knife. And this knife is definitely usable. Some people might buy this just because they might lose their knife somehow. If you lose this knife, not a big deal. Just buy another one. If you lose a Benchmade, you'll never financially recover. While this knife is kind of in that gas station knife territory, I'm not going to say it doesn't feel like that, but it's definitely not the cheapest feeling knife that I've had. You get aluminum handles here, which make the knife feel pretty solid. It's decently smooth, and the lockup is actually not too bad. It kind of is that realm of gas station knives, but it's 12 bucks. What are you going to do? So I just want to cover another alternative to this knife, because for a little more money, you can get something a bit better. So this knife is about $13, but for around $26, I know, it's double the price, you can get this, which is the K-Bar Dozer. It's a little less tactical, but if that's not important to you, this knife has a reliable lockback design and a US 8 blade steel, which would generally be considered a better steel. Now, the Dozer has a Zytel handle as opposed to the aluminum here. Zytel is a polymer. Overall, it's going to make the knife a bit lighter as well. In fact, it weighs a little over an ounce lighter than the Extreme Ops, if that's important to you. Dozer has a drop point instead of the clip point, and on the Dozer, there's no serrations. And another option, I don't actually have one, but I've heard good things about, are some offerings from Civivi. They have some knives around $30 with D2 steel, which is better steel except for maybe corrosion resistance. Even those other knives that are a little bit more money, I still think this knife has a place, especially at its price point. For 12 bucks, there's not a whole lot of knives that you can get. At least this one you're buying from a trusted manufacturer, which is Smith & Wesson, even though these knives are a little bit cheap. I know there's a lot of people that have these knives, obviously, because it's the most popular knife on Amazon. And if you do have the knife, let me know how long you've had it, how long you've been using it for. This is definitely one of those beater knives that you just don't care what you do to it. That being said, I want to thank you for checking this video out today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out the Extreme Ops folding knife or any other knives, I've posted a link to Amazon in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thanks.